Hello, everybody. Welcome to day number 2 of Procrastination to Profit. Today, we're going to be talking about how the RISE method ends procrastination. If you can hear me okay, give me a 1 in the chat. Super excited for day 2. Super excited to see more people on the leaderboard this time around today. Awesome, beautiful. All right, so our goal for today is that by the end of today, you're going to understand why the tools and the strategies you've been using, have had inconsistent results and how the RISE method will change your future. So today we are going to review the grand prize and talk about how you can get points, look at where the leaderboard currently sits, talk about why willpower doesn't create change, why the manifestation techniques you've been taught are producing inconsistent results. Then we're going to look at the RISE method and share your second task before we head over for the VIP Q&A. Give me a 2 in the chat if you would like the opportunity to get a bonus point on the leaderboard today, because I have an opportunity for you to do that. So our grand prize, the person with the most number of points on Thursday at midnight Eastern time, will get 4 one-on-one coaching sessions with me, a 3-month scholarship to nervous system mastery, and VIP to our new challenge, our brand new challenge that's coming in January 2026. Second place will get a 3-month scholarship to nervous system mastery and to VIP. And third place will get VIP to the January challenge. So how do you score points? You go into the school community and you look for this classroom tab at the top. Then you're going to find this Procrastination to Profits 5-day challenge live with the red free flag up in the left-hand corner. And you're going to comment on each of the 7 pre-event tasks. So 7 tasks equals 7 comments. You have to comment on each one. And then we did a pre-event power up. We shared some action tasks for you yesterday. We'll share some today, tomorrow, and Thursday. You'll share your answers to those those action tasks, and that will give you points to go on top of the leaderboard. And then on Friday, we will share who the winner is. So be like Joanna, go ahead and comment on each of the pre-event tasks, share your homework from each of the action tasks every day. And then when I like your comment, so when Tiffany Toombs likes your comment, that means that point has been counted. I only go in and I do points once a day. So sometimes people are like, but I've commented on more. You may have just gone in after I went in. If I have not liked it yet, you'll know that that point has not yet been counted. So our current leaderboard looks like Samya and Amy at the top of the leaderboard, Laurel, Joanna, and Scott in second place, Tanya in third place, Paras and Carol in fourth, Mary in fifth, Mary Ann in sixth, Jennifer and Ruth in seventh, and Trista in eighth. Now, as a reminder, we're going to sweeten this for you a little bit this week. We know that we're stretching you a little bit. We know that we are, that there is a time investment here. So we want to reward the people who show up for themselves. So once you have 3 points or more, you will get an invite to attend our brand new mini mind that will be kicking off in January. That is going to be designed to help you reprogram your trust and your worthiness as it relates to money. Now, 3 points is the bare minimum to get a free invite. You cannot get access to this mini mind in any other way. It doesn't matter which of our programs you may be in. You cannot get access any other way other than having a minimum of 3 points. Those of you who get more points, and I'm not going to tell you what the more points looks like because I also like to make it fun and want you to show up for yourself. So the more points that you have, the more bonuses you're going to unlock with that. Okay. And we also have a gift for you when you show up for yourself this week. we are going to send you a guided sleep hypnosis to reprogram your mind to take more action and stop procrastinating. This is not available anywhere else. You cannot buy this. You have to attend 4 days or more of this challenge for us to send it to you. Now, if you're here live, make sure you drop at least one comment in the chat before the end of the session. And if you are watching the replay, there will be a daily keyword that we say at some point today, and send that keyword to myself or to Sid. And once you have 4, we will send that hypnosis over for you. So, quick refresher on what we talked about yesterday. Procrastination is not really the problem, it's the behavior, the pattern, or the habit that is creating issues for you, but it's being driven by your thoughts, your beliefs, your identities, and your core childhood wounds. We looked at this in depth yesterday, so if you missed that, you need to go back and check out that replay. And when Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate that. And when your thoughts, beliefs, identities, and core childhood wounds are out of alignment with what you want, when they are disempowering you, it puts you into a state of stress addiction, which we are going to dive deep into understanding tomorrow. Today, I want to talk about why the tools that you've been using are creating inconsistent results. So give me a 1 in the chat if you've heard something like this before. You need more willpower, you need more discipline. How many of you have been told that? You need more of this, and that's why you're not achieving your goals. Maybe it's come with a dose of shame, right? Like you're not disciplined enough, you don't have enough willpower, and that's why you're not hitting your goals. Okay? So here's what I want you to know, and maybe you've said it to yourself. So here's what I want you to know, and this is not just my opinion, this is backed by neuroscience, is that if we were to put our willpower on a graph where we have the amount of willpower on one side and the time of day on the other side, I can't remember my XY axes, so you get it. Your willpower looks like this. Okay, so I want you to think you start your tank, hopefully, with a full tank of willpower every day. It's almost like a gas can in your car, right? Not everybody is going to start with a full tank, and we'll talk about that in a second. But let's say you are starting with a full tank. Every time you make a decision, you pour some of your willpower out. Okay, you use some of it for that decision. Just let me know in the chat, how many times do you hit the snooze button in the morning? On average. How many times do you hit the snooze button in the morning? 2 times, 3 times, 0 times, 10 times? Okay, 3 to 5. What else? How many times are you hitting snooze in the morning? 2 to 3? At least 2, but getting better. Few less times lately. Okay. So I asked this at a workshop I did about 10 years ago, and one of the women said 10 times. Okay, if you're hitting the snooze button 10 times, that's 11 decisions by the time you finally get out of bed, because the time you get up is also a decision. Okay, the average American hits the snooze button 3 times, which if you were to add up all that time in a year, that equates to 6 days of your life hitting snooze in 1 year. So this is what we call decision fatigue, right? It doesn't matter how big the decision is. Every time you make a decision, you're using some of your willpower. And if you've ever gone on a diet, you kind of know this. Like it's really easy to eat good for breakfast. It's really easy to eat fairly well for lunch and dinner. But then come like 9, 10 o'clock, you like could eat the entire candy aisle at Whole Foods, right? Or at your local supermarket. And it's because once your willpower runs out, you default back to whatever patterns, whatever belief systems, whatever you are holding on to in the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind, which is your logical brain, which is where your willpower comes from, is only 4% of your mind's capacity. And I forgot to say this yesterday, but at any time this week, if I say something that you have an aha moment, Put the specific aha moment in the chat. Like your conscious mind is only 4%. If that's an aha moment for you, put it in the chat. Okay, it's going to help you anchor it in. Your subconscious mind, which is your emotions, your belief systems, your memories, your experiences, that's 96% of your mind's capacity. There's no capacity for willpower in your subconscious mind. So relying on willpower to hit your goal would be the equivalent of taking out your life savings, going to Vegas, and placing your entire life savings to bet that the 4% will overpower the 96% the majority of the time. Give me a 1 in the chat if you would take that bet. Give me a 2 if you wouldn't. And I know you might not gamble. I don't gamble, but just play along with me, please. Right. Not many people are going to bet their life savings on such low odds. But yeah, we do it with our life, with our purpose, with our impact in the world every time we decide to rely on willpower to get us to the goal. Okay. Give me a 2, a 3 in the chat. Sorry, if you've ever been told use affirmations, or maybe you do use affirmations. All right. I've got some people using affirmations or have been told to. So here's why affirmations are not going to produce consistent results for you. It is because, so we have this conscious mind, which we talked about being 4% of the mind's capacity. And we have our unconscious or our subconscious mind. That's 96%. Now, the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, we'll use those interchangeably. They it has no capacity for logic and reason. So any information that gets into the subconscious mind is taken to be totally true. So I'm sure you can think of somebody like a used car salesman, maybe politicians, things like that, that you're like, I don't want this person to have unfettered access to my subconscious mind. Like I can only imagine the stuff that they would put in there, right? Give me a 1 if you can think of somebody where you're like, yeah, I don't it would be like giving somebody access to your operating system to install whatever code they wanted, right? Like that's probably not a good idea that just anybody can get in there. So we come with a built-in safety mechanism, and it's called the gatekeeper. So if we feel unsafe with somebody, if we feel like somebody's got bad energy, if we don't trust them, if maybe they've broken our trust in the past, the gatekeeper is going to close. And if the gatekeeper closes, nothing that they say will get through to the subconscious mind. Now, here's the thing. We also can lose trust with ourselves. If what we are saying is the opposite to what we believe, in an attempt to protect ourselves and maintain survival, the gatekeeper will close. This is why arguing with somebody about politics on social media is not going to change anybody's mind. Because changing those belief systems feels like you might die to the subconscious mind. And I know that that seems extreme, but the subconscious mind is a little bit extra, for lack of a better word. Okay. So Sid and I had a mentor a couple years ago who said, I want you to get up every morning and say, I am a millionaire. Well, I've seen my bank account. I know that's not true, right? And I knew the other people in the room that wasn't true. So what happens when we tell ourselves affirmations that are not presently true for us? It doesn't mean it can't be true in the future, but right now it's not true, or right now it doesn't align with what we believe, right? Like there was a point in time in my life where if you had told me that it was safe to have a lot of money, I wouldn't have believed you because I had a belief system that having money meant you would be judged and abandoned. I think we talked about that yesterday. So what happens is you say these affirmations, but then they bounce off your gatekeeper and just get lost. Okay? And so if you're saying something that's untrue to yourself, not only are you then telling yourself that you're not trustworthy, but you're also just kind of wasting your time. Now, there will be times where those affirmations get through. Okay. But they're not going to consistently get through until we align what the affirmation is with the beliefs that are stored in our subconscious mind. Okay. The other thing about affirmations is that our nervous system and our subconscious mind don't respond to words. There's no intellect there. There's no language center in our subconscious mind. So it doesn't understand words, but it does understand energy and feelings. And so if we're not creating an energy or a feeling that aligns with what we're saying or what we want, like if you're saying to yourself, it's safe for me to have money, but you have like this pit in your gut as you're saying it, or you're like, you feel this like hitch in your chest as you're saying it, then what you're telling your body is that your words don't align with how you feel. And it just becomes more incongruent. So we only understand feelings, our subconscious mind and our nervous system. We need to feel safe and abundant in order to reprogram the nervous system. So we have to create experiences that allow us to feel safe and abundant if we want the nervous system to have a new set of imprints. And we're going to talk more about the nervous system tomorrow. Give me a 3 in the chat if you've been told to practice gratitude. Practice gratitude, get a journal. And I'm not hating on any of these things, by the way, and I'll get to that shortly. They all have a place, but they shouldn't be at the front of the line. So, writing down what you're grateful for each day only works if it doesn't become another thing on the to-do list that stresses you out. When I first was told, this was like probably 12 to 15 years ago, I went to one of my very first like personal development retreats, and they were talking about gratitude. And so I connected with one of the other women there, and we decided to practice gratitude, but also hold each other accountable for practicing gratitude. We were going to text each other each day and say, here's what I'm grateful for. And it became something else on my to-do list that was already like a mile long, right? And there were days where I remember like my head would hit the pillow and then I'd be like, oh, I haven't done my gratitude yet. I didn't send it to her. And then I'd get up and I just quickly type it in my phone and send. Finally, now I can go to bed. Well, that's not going to reprogram me. That's not going to reprogram my nervous system. So we actually have to pause to feel grateful if we want gratitude to reprogram our nervous system. If we're just going through the motions and doing it, if we're saying gratitude for the sake of saying it, I remember a program I was in maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Every Sunday, they wanted you to write down 100 things to be grateful for, and you couldn't repeat the 100 things from the last week. And it just became like this stressful project that we had to complete every week to like stay caught up in this program, right? So feeling grateful will reprogram your system, but you actually have to pause long enough to feel it. Just writing it down, just saying it isn't going to do anything. All right, give me a 4 if you have looked at manifesting, read books on law of attraction, watched The Secret, tried manifesting. Let's talk about why it's not producing consistent results. I talked to a lady last year and she said, I manifested $50,000 last year, and then I went through a breakup, and I have not been able to manifest anything since. And I'm spending 5 hours a day between writing down my affirmations and all the manifesting stuff that I have to do. 5 hours a day is a lot of time to be getting no results. So I've done a lot of manifestation courses. I've read a lot of books. I've watched a lot of movies and documentaries on it. And it all kind of boils down to 4 main steps. Get clear on your desires, stay in high vibe energy, take aligned action, and receive your desire. So I'm going to talk about each of these steps and tell you why each of these steps is blocking you from actually receiving the thing that you want and creating the life that you want. And just so I know and I can make it more specific, What is your goal? Like, what is the thing you've been procrastinating on? What is the goal you want to achieve? I know that's kind of a dirty word for some people, the word goal, but what is it you want to manifest? What is it you want to call into your life? Is it more money? Is it a specific project? What is it? And as the more specific you can be, the more specific I can make my examples for you. So go into the chat and let me know. I need my Jeopardy music again. Do, 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 do. Clarity on priorities and to prioritize clarity. Okay. What other goals do we have? And if it's more money, like specifically how much money are we wanting to make? House organization, life organization, clarity of vision. Okay. Well, we're going to dive deep into the clarity part today. What else we got? I know some of you are writing books, some of you are growing businesses, launching businesses. So let's look at it. Number one, get clear on your desires. The majority of people spend 70% or more of their time in survival mode. Okay. Now, there are four survival mode states that people live in, and we're going to go in depth into these tomorrow, but I just want to touch on them today. So, our four survival mode states are fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Okay, and we'll talk specifically about what those look like and how you move through them tomorrow. So, when you're in these survival mode states, your body believes that a bear or a lion is chasing you. Okay. Again, it doesn't know the difference. It just knows this survival state has been activated. Your body believes its life is in danger. So if a bear was chasing you, tell me in the chat, what would you be focused on? What would you be focused on if a bear was chasing you? Safety, getting away from the bear. Yeah, outrunning the other person. When we go on hikes here in the Smokies and we run into bears, which we have a couple times. I just tell my husband, I will run faster than you. That's all I need to do. Just kidding. I have the bear spray. So, what would you desire in that moment, right? As the bear or the lion is chasing you? Probably not making more money, right? In that moment, unless you're like going to throw like wads of cash at the bear to try and hurt it, it's not going to do anything for you. Living up to your potential, don't care. Can't live up to your potential if you get mauled by a bear. Making an impact on the world, again, doesn't matter. Nobody cares. You know the story, I can't remember if it's 24 hours or 27 hours, but you know the guy who was like ice hiking and he got stuck, like a giant chunk of ice fell on his hand and he had to like saw his hand off to get away. In that moment, he wasn't thinking as he's like sawing his arm off. He's not thinking, man, this is going to make an amazing book. I bet you this social media post goes viral. Like he didn't care about those things, right? He just wanted to get out of danger. You don't care about loving yourself, right? You're not going to sit and say to the bear, hey, let's just stop and talk about our feelings. Like, that's not going to happen. You don't care about feeling calm, peaceful, joy. You don't care about your 3, 5, 10 year goal. So, give me a one in the chat if you, and I know already some of you will say yes to this, if figuring out your goals is a challenge for you, right? A lot of you put like getting clarity as your number one goal right now. Well, here's the thing. When you're in survival mode, when your nervous system feels like you're being chased by a bear, getting getting clarity past how do I survive this moment? How do I get out of this moment where this bear is chasing me? You're not going to get it because anything beyond that doesn't matter and it takes too much energy to figure out. Your brain consumes 20% of the calories that you consume in a day, and it consumes 40 to 60% of the sugars that you eat in a day. So I want you to imagine that that's like your gas tank to help you get away from the bear. Are you going to spend like 20 to 60% of your gas tank to try and figure out something that might never become true if you can't survive this moment? No. You want every available resource going towards surviving. And so your nervous system, your subconscious mind is not going to let you figure out what comes beyond surviving this moment. Right? So if you're in survival mode, clarity will be a challenge. Step number two, stay in high vibe energy, right? Like push all the bad vibes away. Don't think anything negative. Stay positive all the time. Our emotions aren't the enemy, they're a messenger. So we all have this emotional trash can, proverbial. This is a metaphor, okay? But we all, like our nervous system is really this trash can. And every unresolved negative emotion that you've ever had gets stored in this trash can until you resolve it. Now, I don't know about you, but give me a two if you did not learn any emotional intelligence, emotional resilience tools growing up, right? For me, like if we had a negative emotion in our family, it was go to your room, come back when you're happy, shove it down. When I lived in Australia, they had a saying like, oh, just drink a cup of cement and harden up, right? It was like emotions are not good. It's kind of the societal messaging. And I don't blame our parents for this. Our parents didn't know. The research is only just catching up now. So let's say the first time you felt angry, you were 2 years old, your mom took you to the toy store, wouldn't buy you the toy that you wanted. What happened was you created an imprint in your nervous system of that anger at 2 years old, and you started filling that bucket. Now, every time you felt how that 2 year old felt, you added a link onto the chain. And that's just anger. And notice this arrow at the end, because this chain can go for as many times as you've ever felt angry, right? If I had to ask you, hey, in your entire lifetime, how many times have you felt angry? Would you be able to give me a specific number? For I can tell you, I would not. I do not have enough fingers and toes for that. Okay. And then we have fear. Maybe you first felt fear at 1 years old, but same thing. Every time you felt how that 1 year old felt, you add a link onto the chain. Then we have sadness. Maybe you first felt that at 3 years old. And every time you felt how that 3 year old felt, you add a link onto the chain. And then guilt or shame. Every time you felt how that 7 year old you felt, you add a link onto the chain. So for most people, their bucket is full and overflowing even before they hit 18, right? It's like the equivalent of getting up every morning, packing your backpack full of bricks, throwing it on your back, and going to run a marathon, but wondering why you're exhausted after like 100 meters. Because you're carrying a bunch of crap around with you that's smelly and weighs a ton. And the longer you carry it, the heavier it gets. So, the other thing that we know is that the age that you were when those imprints were created, 2, 1, 3, 7, part of your psyche actually gets stuck at that age. And so road rage is not how a 2 year old responds to sitting in traffic. That's the 2 year, sorry, road rage is not how an adult responds to sitting in traffic. That's the 2 year old throwing a temper tantrum for not getting what they wanted, right? Procrastinating and blocking your success is not how an adult goes about achieving their goal. That's the 1 year old who's stuck in fear. And so we have these parts of your psyche that are hijacking you and causing you to get stuck in self sabotage. And then you're just creating more guilt and more shame and more frustration and everything else to add to the bucket that's already overflowing. Give me a one in the chat if you've ever heard the saying, when emotions are high, intelligence is low. So when this bucket is full, we get moved into our emotional brain. And that does not, the more full our bucket, the more the connections between the emotional and the logical brain break down. So now we're stuck in our emotional brain. We don't have access to our logic and our reason. Okay. More recent studies are also showing us that when this bucket is full, like I said before, the longer you carry it, the heavier it gets. We call this allostatic load. I'll put it in the chat for anybody who's oops. You guys still see the screen? So allostatic load looks like that. But the longer we carry something, the heavier it gets. And so, for example, when I go to, I don't know what I just did here. Sorry, one second. So when we go hiking, my son feels significantly heavier at the start of the hike than he does 5 miles in. And what this does is it causes your body to move out of its ability to heal itself. So we have clients that come to us and what we focus on with them is emptying out this bucket. Well, emptying out this bucket and breaking down all of these chains reduces the allostatic load. And we've had clients, quote unquote, miraculously heal from everything from cancer to fibromyalgia to type 2 diabetes to liver disease, depression, anxiety, bipolar, borderline personality disorder. We saw an improvement in Parkinson's disease, in rheumatoid arthritis, in people with epilepsy, in heart murmurs, in Crohn's disease. We've seen these miraculous healings or remissions come about because the body can finally start to heal itself. Now, the other thing is that we have these vertical columns, and these are all related to a person. So this is mom. You could have the best mom in the world, and at some point in time, she's made you angry, fearful, sad, and feel guilt or shame. Dad, siblings, friends, teachers, bosses, exes, bullies, right? Anybody who's ever caused you to have negative emotions, they are going to have their own chain. So now we have this scaffolding, this matrix of negative experiences and negative emotions that are belief systems. I'm not good enough. I have to be perfect. I can't set boundaries. It's not safe to have money. All of those belief systems get stuck in here. Now, here's the thing, your body and your nervous system is carrying this. And the Heart Math Institute has come out with studies showing that the more of this that you are carrying, the more your heart will transmit a low vibrational frequency. So your heart doesn't just pump blood around your body, it also sends out a frequency or a vibration to the world around you. And like attracts like. So the more, a lot of manifestation techniques are like, just shove it down, just think positive, right? Just when something negative comes up, just switch to something positive, change your thoughts, change your mind, change your life, right? But when we shove it down, it's like holding a beach ball underwater. It doesn't make the beach ball disappear. It just means now we're spending energy to hold the ball under the water. And if we don't do something to deflate the ball and get rid of it, then as soon as we're distracted and looking somewhere else, it's going to pop up and bump us in the face. So the way to truly be high vibe is to collapse this scaffolding, to empty out your emotional bucket. Step number 3 in most manifestation techniques, take aligned action. Okay, when you think take aligned action, how would you think that would feel? It would feel like expansive and exciting and like, you know, you're like fired up to do it, right? So how many of you, give me a 1, have heard of the comfort zone? How many of you have heard of this comfort zone? Give me a 1 in the chat. Nobody's heard of the comfort zone? Or can you not hear me? Okay, there we go. So the comfort zone is really not comfortable for most people, but it's familiar. Really should be called the familiar zone, right? Like living paycheck to paycheck, not comfortable, but you know what to expect. having friends and family who don't really support you, not comfortable, but you know how to walk on eggshells. Okay. So, what happens is when we step outside of our comfort zone, we go out here to what's known as the panic zone. The panic zone, as the name suggests, doesn't feel all that great, right? It feels like you're about to have a panic attack. Heart starts to race, palms get sweaty, start breathing heavier, start breathing faster, butterflies or something in your stomach. It feels like something's sitting on your chest, right? And most people have been told that that is anxiety, that's panic, that's bad. We we need to get out of there. So most people will hightail it back to their comfort zone. The challenge is that every time we go back to our comfort zone, what we're doing is we're imprinting and we're solidifying this pattern of staying safe, staying familiar over expansion. What if I told you that that panic zone doesn't mean you're going to die? Your body feels like it is because it's doing something new. But if you have the right tools, which we're going to give you on Thursday to move through that, you're going to be able to navigate the panic zone. So now you move into the growth zone. Now your familiar zone, what feels safe for you, is even bigger. Okay. So anything outside of your comfort zone is going to initially dysregulate your nervous system because anytime you're doing something new and unfamiliar, your nervous system is going to go on to high alert. We have to be prepared what could harm us or kill us. And once it realizes, oh, actually, going to a new Starbucks that I've never been to before, it's actually fine. I survived. I'm safe. Making $10,000 a month. Oh, I've done that once or twice now. It's safe. It's okay. Now, $10,000 a month becomes your new comfort zone, becomes your new safe zone. So if you're taking an action you've never done, so if you're looking to achieve a goal that you've never had, right, which most goals are, right? You want to do something you've never done before. Then you have to take an action you've never taken, right? The action that I had to take to grow my business to $10,000 a month was different to the action that I had to take to grow my business to $30,000 a month. The action that I took to get on 100 podcasts in a year was different to the action that I had to take to get my own column at Forbes, right? The action that I had to take to speak at a summit was different than the action that I had to take to go and consult for Delta Airlines. So when you're taking an action you've never done before, you're going to move outside your comfort zone, which means your nervous system is going to be dysregulated. Aligned action will not feel aligned at the moment that you're taking the action. It's going to feel like panic. It's going to feel like, hey, I might die right now. And again, your nervous system is a little bit extra. Okay, it's a little bit over the top. But when we have the tools to like rein it back in, we don't have to feel like we're about to die all the time. Your daily keyword today is aligned. And then step number 4 is receive your desire. So for most people, receiving doesn't feel safe. So if somebody was to give you a compliment, if I was just to say, Marianne, I love your hair today. Mary, you're an amazing human. Laurel, I love your positive energy. What would your response be? Nuria, you're a great human being. Kat, I love your energy. Dan, you are inspirational. Anna, you're just such an incredible spirit, right? Would it be to say just thank you? Or would you add a little something? Would you feel the need to respond with a compliment for that person? Oh, yeah, your hair looks good today too, right? Or what if somebody was to buy you a small gift? You and I met at a coffee shop and I said, you know what? I got your coffee. Would you say something like, no, 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 you don't have to do that? Or would you say something like, I'll get the next one? I was talking to a client yesterday and I said, hey, we do referral commissions when People refer friends and family to us. And I said, hey, I have a referral commission for you. And she said, oh, I don't need it. All right, we're still working on that part for her. So for most people, receiving doesn't feel safe because in their lifetime, what they've received has not been safe. So when you're receiving, it doesn't feel safe because you're not in control. You don't get to decide what is being given to you. You don't get to decide, maybe the things you've received in the past haven't felt safe. Maybe you've received a lot of criticism or judgment or shame or negativity, abuse. Maybe when you were given things, it came with strings or ultimatums, or it was used against you. My sister-in-law helped my husband out one time before I even met him. 7 years later, we hear about it every chance you get. But I helped you that one time. But I helped, right? Yeah, or it could be given and taken away from you. My grandma used to do that to my mom growing up. She would like give the girls bikes for Christmas, and then when springtime rolled around, before they could actually ride the bikes, she would take them back to she would return them for the cash, right? So if those are the kinds of things that happened, then receiving doesn't feel safe. It's like, well, I can't get my hopes up because what if it gets taken away from me? So are affirmations, willpower, gratitude, manifesting useless? No, they're just not where we should start. And unfortunately, they're where a lot of people start, and then they start to get frustrated and lose trust in the ability to change, right? Other people can change, but I can't. So, where should you start? That's where our RISE method comes in. So, in our RISE method, R stands for recalibrating the nervous system and reprogramming your survival or your limiting beliefs. I stands for inner child healing. This is where we're going to empty that emotional bucket. We're going to take down those chains and those columns that we looked at before. S is for shifting your identity. How do we shift you into being the person that has the goal, being the person God designed you to be? And E is for expand and evolve. How do we give you tools and structures in your life to continue to expand and level up when you desire to? So this was me before the RISE method. And if you're wondering, that is indeed a bottle of vodka. Just straight from the bottle, Christmas Eve 2013. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was overachieving. I was people pleasing. I was a perfectionist, which is a terrible combination, by the way. It's really hard to make anybody happy as an overachieving, people pleasing perfectionist. I was a workaholic, working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. I had no social life. In fact, at the time, I was like, what do people even do on the weekends if they're not working? Like, I genuinely don't understand hobbies. It doesn't make sense to me. And at that point in time, I had been a workaholic since I was 14. I used food and alcohol to numb out my emotions, to numb out the beliefs and the stories that played on repeat in my head. I was high anxiety, and I deeply loathed myself. After the RISE method, I have a life that I never could have dreamed was possible, that I get to share with my amazing husband and son. So we make more money now than we ever have before, and we work less. We don't work Wednesdays. I will be here tomorrow, but we don't work Wednesdays. We typically, most Wednesdays, we go to Dollywood or the splash pad or the water park or the trampoline park or the park, right? We make memories together. We take midday walks, Wednesdays off. We have strong boundaries with everybody in our life. Alcohol free. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in over 2 years. I love my life. I love waking up every day. I'm excited to wake up every day. I don't need the snooze button. I love myself. And it hasn't just worked for me. This person was using the RISE method, was able to break the spirals quickly and get their energy and motivation back so they could finish a project they'd been putting off for 2 months. This person made $100,000 sale, and the person paid in full. This person was able to overcome all their old belief systems that have been holding them back. People lose weight, but they don't even change their diet and exercise plan, but the weight just starts coming off. And you start making more money. Have your first $10,000 week. Life gets pretty darn amazing and pretty magical. You might start selling your services and your packages for more than you ever have before. You can reclaim your voice, your truth, your power. Maybe even have an $8,000 day. So, tomorrow we're going to talk more about the nervous system and how the nervous system is leading you into procrastination and creating overwhelm patterns. Tomorrow, I'm going to start giving you exercises to help you start reprogramming this pattern. Okay. If you've not yet joined us in VIP, we would love to have you join us. On Sunday, we'll be running a VIP graduation intensive where I'll be taking you through a guided session, and then my husband Sid will be coming in to walk you through creating an action plan for your transformation. You'll get lifetime access to the replays. After every call this week, we're going to head over for an hour of VIP coaching and support. So everybody that hops on the call gets their questions answered. You get the total support. We hop on at 3:30 before the sessions every day to answer any questions that you have. At the end of the week, you'll get a free one-on-one session with me. You'll get VIP to our January challenge. We're also going to give you our Momentum Mastery meditation series, our Fearless Mastery Masterclass and exercise, Complete Confidence Masterclass, six-figure money mindset course, six-figure energetics course. I'm going to mail you a copy of my best-selling book, Stop Being a Selfish Bitch. Once we know how many people are in VIP, we order the books. And so it will take a couple weeks for us to get them and send them out, but they are coming. You'll get a 3-month scholarship to our nervous system mastery program and 3 months of Voxer support as you go through and implement this in your life. So Sid has put the link there for you to join us in VIP in the chat. It's only $88 to join us, and we would love to have you. Your day 2 action tasks. So go into the school community, do the pre-event tasks if you haven't already. Let us know, what techniques have you been trying up until this point to break this pattern of procrastination and self-sabotage? What did you discover today that will help you make transformation in the future? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to doing something in the future that will break this pattern? Now, give me a 1 if you would like a bonus session with me tomorrow at 5 p.m. So you'll come for the main session, and then we'll go into a bonus session where I'll share a couple extra secrets with you. Drop a 1 in the chat if you would like that. So Sid's going to share a link for you in the chat. Just fill out this questionnaire. We'll also send it to you guys in a message and an email, but we have a quick questionnaire for you to fill out. And just for filling out that questionnaire as a thank you, you'll be invited to a bonus session and VIP for tomorrow's session. Okay, so we'll see you tomorrow. And those of you in VIP, we will head over to the VIP link now. Have a great day.